What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So in this video, we're going to be doing a little bit of a discussion in regards to the current events that are going on in One Piece Treasure Cruise, and mainly just the Memories of Straw Hats event. Now, we're just coming off of the 10th anniversary, and while a lot of the stuff in the anniversary was cool, like, it wasn't honestly like the greatest event, like, set of events that we've ever had. We've definitely had past events that have felt more exciting, because what we got during the 10th anniversary, most of it honestly just felt like reskin stuff that we've had over the past few years. They didn't really bring that much new stuff into the game. Obviously, Co-op Quest is a new addition to the game, but you know, aside from that, the rest of the events were pretty much the same. We didn't really see any major changes or anything, but we move on, obviously past the anniversary. We're not talking about the anniversary per se in this video. The events that are occurring post-anniversary, which I guess are still kind of, you know, intertwined with the anniversary in and of itself. Obviously, the 10th anniversary ship is ending the end of July, so I assume, like, all of this stuff might wrap up towards the end of July. We'll have to wait and see, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about in regards to this event period. But I made this tweet a couple of days ago just talking about that the whole Memories of Straw Hat Pirates campaign is probably one of the worst celebrations that we have had in a while. Extreme whiplash coming off of the anniversary, dropping mid back to back to back in referring to Zoro, into Sanji, into Usopp. The legends are just bad, straight up. They're just not that great, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Positive note, at least you can save your rainbow gems, so at least there is at least a positive that can come out of this. But I think a lot of people might have misconstrued or got a little bit misunderstood in regards to what I was referring to here. Yes, I do not think that the legends of Usopp, Sanji, and Zoro cut it in terms of 2024 standards. If those characters came out 1 to 2 years ago, probably would have been fine. But in regards to the stuff that we have now, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think a lot of people think what I mean by that is, like, people think that, you know, oh, you know, they're not like the same level as the anniversary characters. It means that this whole celebration is bad. And that's not exactly what I'm saying. And I completely get and I completely understand the fact that, you know, once we're out of the Super Sugo Fest period, the legends that come out in normal banners are not supposed to be Super Sugo Fest exclusive, but I would love them to bring something to the table at least to make them usable as captains. And I just don't think these characters cut it in any aspect. There's no redeeming qualities, maybe a couple of redeeming qualities in some aspects, but mostly I think the characters are kind of mid, honestly. I think a lot of people agree out there, honestly. Let's get out and to have a looking at some of these comments. So Maniac, another Treasure Cruise content creator, made this tweet saying, I think they understand the point. I think they didn't understand the point of Power Creep Anniversary when Zoro is legit the single worst legend on release. I don't know, ever. I don't know if he's the worst legend on release, but he's pretty close. Reiju V2, I mean, Reiju V2 on release, yeah, didn't really do that much. I mean, like, the poison, I guess, I think he's talking about the Kizuna legend Reiju, who is another legend that really didn't do much on release. Legend Ein didn't do anything on release either. I mean, a couple of the movie legends, like Zephyr, to be honest, didn't do anything. There have been some bad releases in the past, but I understand what he's saying. He's saying, like, Zoro is on that level of character. Like, they've released, they don't do anything, and they probably won't do anything forever. But I like the concept of just making them playable, and not free spirit is too much to ask, I guess. You know, fighter powerhouse Sanji, slasher-driven Zoro. And yeah, this is kind of where I wanted to take this discussion in. Like, the actual unit design themselves, like what the units do, not a fan of. But I like the concept that they've done here. They've given all of these Straw Hats, like, the memories of what has made the characters who they are and their stories throughout the series. That, as a concept of a campaign, is a good idea, but the execution of that, I have not really been a fan of at all. And this extends to Stump, because Stump says, honestly, I disagree. I think it's nice revisiting stuff that is not anime related and gives players a good wind down period after anniversary. Sure, the units are mid, but they shouldn't be any level anyway. And I mean, exactly what I'm saying, like, they don't have to be anniversary level. And even Zmud said, did you even read Zoro? So, like, Zoro, I think that's where a lot of the discussion is. Like, Zoro's so bad. Sanji isn't great either, but he has some uses. Usopp, not that great, but may have some use in the future. But there's nothing redeeming about the Zoro at all, and it just seems like Zoro gets, like, the really worst end of the stick. A lot of the Sanji legends, when they come out, at least on release, are pretty powerful. Zoro, sometimes they're okay, and a lot of the times they're not that great, but It is what it is. And this is where I wanted to talk about, where he does mention about a good wind down period after anniversary. And then it got me thinking, okay, after the other anniversaries that we've had over the past, handful of years, were there any good wind down periods? So let's go ahead and have a look, okay? So obviously this is the current campaign, the Memories of the Straw Hats. Now we go all the way down to the 5th anniversary. Now this is the Japan side of things, right? Where, Global and Japan were on different timelines at that point, but this was Japan's 5th anniversary with dual Big Mom and dual Law and Luffy. After their anniversary on that, they come up with this legend right here, Sabo and Koala. When this character dropped, it was arguably one of the strongest characters in the game. So they came off of their anniversary, it all went and passed. The next Sugo, boom, they dropped this. And this character was big, like a big jump in power creep. So they have this massive jump in power creep with the anniversary, and then they usually followed up with another legend that is not obviously like on the same level. I mean, in some aspects they are, but they still hold strong in their own, Sugo Fest. It is a really good character that makes people want to pull on that kind of banner. So that's the 5th anniversary. We move on to the 6th anniversary. We have the super types of Luffy, Blackbeard, Katakuri, and Sabo. This was a pretty big release as well. Super types debuting in the game for the first time, and the rare recruits were honestly pretty good too. Like these strength units, they have really good utility. Doflamingo was okay. NL had some good speed farming qualities, and the legends at the time were very strong. Sabo was probably the weakest. Katakuri was difficult to use. Blackbeard had some very interesting mechanics, and then super type Luffy was incredibly strong. So coming off of that, this one was probably not as strong as some of the ones that we'll talk about in this video, but still, at this point, Kid and Hawkins, they didn't have their own Sugo Fest exclusive. So coming off of, the super types with strength and int coverage, we go into Dex super type with Hawkins and Kid, and as I said, those characters debuting for the first time as a legend in the game. This brought a lot of hype into the game, and a lot of people really liked what Kid was doing. I mean, Kid is somewhat of a fan favorite character for those random people out there. And Hawkins, he was not really that great. He had some interesting stuff, I suppose. People liked his unique playstyle, but a lot of people liked what Kid was aiming to do. So that was not the same power level, I don't think. These characters were definitely weaker, but this was still like a hype celebration, and these characters did have usable functions in the game. Moving past that, we go to the next anniversary, which is the 7th anniversary at this point, introducing Final Taps for the first time with Final Tap Luffy, Law, and Kid. These characters very strong on release. We move past that. Once that Sugo Fest had concluded, I guess the Sugo Fest was actually around for quite a long time. But then you go into this, the Kizuna banner to come out was going to be the Sabo and Ace, which is one of the best legends to release for such a long time. He had a great utility captain, great special, essentially like a rainbow unit, but actually gives, more buffs to free spirit and shooters and stuff. But this character is monumental, helps a lot in a lot of Grand Voyage content back in the day, helped in a lot of GARP challenges and high-end content that needed really powerful units to get through it, because this character had a great utility, special, and captain, whilst also giving you increased of damage. The super swapping mechanic, of course, incredibly strong. So Sabo and Ace, very, very powerful unit. And then that was followed up by the release of Shanks versus Whitebeard, which I believe was like a poll thing where the community were able to vote for who did you want to see as a versus unit. I believe Whitebeard versus Shanks was in that kind of poll. But this was a pretty big release because versus units, you don't really get too many of them, and this was a really big fan favorite one. And while the character on release seemed pretty good, and obviously it hasn't aged very well, honestly, but at the time, releasing this straight after everything that we just had, it was pretty exciting seeing this, honestly. It really was. So we moved past that to the 8th anniversary, which was Tandem, Kaido, Ace and Yamato, and Tandem Luffy with the waifus, of course. So this was the introduction of Super Tandem. This was a massive release. Pretty much every legend on here was god tier, top tier at the time, and a lot of them are still very, very good as well. When we debuted past this Sugo Fest, we had this, man, and these characters on release were legit super Sugo Fest level. Tandem Law, Tandem Kid. Now, they've probably aged a little bit now, but back when they came out, this alongside the Sugo Fest that we just had, these units were absolutely phenomenal. The fact that Law had so much good synergy with Luffy, Kid definitely took a long time for him to come into fruition, but Law on release, if you had him maxed out ready to go, and the fact that he was a normal legend, so he was available on red tickets as well, so these characters were a little bit more accessible. but the power level of these units were very high, and these were super exciting units. Obviously, these are the first tandem units of Law and Kid coming into the game. People wanted to get their hands on them, and they helped in a lot of content moving forward, right? So this was a huge release right after that anniversary. We go to last year. So this is a bit of a weird one because this anniversary brought in so many Sugofest exclusives, and it lasted for such a long time that the anniversary is almost... It's hard to really explain like post any of this one because the anniversary the anniversary and post anniversary felt like combined into one. Like you had like the Luffy and Yamato with Odin and Toki, not like the best, but then you had part 2 with Sanji and Queen, both amazing, and then Zoro and Alba in the next one. That like part 2 and 3 of the anniversary were crazy good. And then debuting after that was the release of Blackbeard versus Whitebeard, introducing a couple of new mechanics, very popular versus unit that people wanted to get in the game. And then Shanks and Buggy as a dual unit, fan favorite characters, of course. They don't really see that much play now, but still fan favorite units that people wanted to get their hands on. These characters haven't aged the best. Whitebeard versus Blackbeard definitely still sees some play. And then you've got these rare recruits, which they're okay, but they actually have very good supports as well. So, you know, this was a pretty cool release, all things considered. Not crazy hype levels, of course, but still pretty cool release. And then, of course, as I said, you know, we make our way to this celebration where we had the Super Evolution of Luffy, which, by the way, we don't know where to get his skulls yet. And then you had Zoro, Sanji, as well as the new Usopp that we currently have today. And it just makes you wonder, like, where has everything gone wrong? Because these characters, they're just kind of bad. And then you have Usopp, and it's not getting any better. And the crazy thing is, we know that every other Straw Hat character is going to be receiving a legend, and judging from the track record that has been released thus far, the rest of the Straw Hat Legends are probably not going to be that great. So I hope that I am proven wrong, but at least at face value, with the information and evidence that we have right now, this celebration in terms of the hype levels is super down, just because while the actual idea of the celebration is good, the execution of it has been mediocre at best. So I really hope that things cook up a little bit later when we get characters like Robin, like a new Frankie legend would be awesome, a new Brook legend would be awesome. I just hope that they do them justice, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. So just wanted to give all that information out for you guys, because like some of the previous anniversary characters that we've had, or post anniversary characters that we've had, have actually, you know, been hype units, and they have lived up to that hype in some aspects, right? Whereas these units, I don't really think they're going to live up to much hype at all, which is just really sad, honestly, because the theming of this celebration is honestly really cool. And yeah, you see like this tweet here, and there's 6 more legends to come out. Oh my god, like, I don't know if this tweet came out when Usopp was revealed, I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's just really lame. They're all normal legends besides Luffy, so who cares? Just new stuff to get from tickets. That is also true, but now we know that Usopp is going to be on a TM banner, and we know potentially that they may release more of them on Kizuna banners. It's just like, I don't know. And the thing is, right, is while we do have a lot of these legends to come out, and they look to be coming out sequentially in some fashion, like, it gets a little bit scary, because does this mean for the next like 2 months we're just going to get straight up these terrible Straw Hat legends and we're just going to have to live with that? Because if that is the case, it's going to be a pretty depressing couple of months with these really bad Straw Hat legends, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just really scared. I hope they do something good, you know, coming up. But anyways, that's it for me. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this one down below in the comment section. I'm just kind of frustrated because I think that this celebration could have been so much better than what it is, but these units, they just don't do anything. I don't know what the hell they're doing, and we still don't even know where we get the Luffy skulls from, and that's another discussion too, is because I think that the base form of the Luffy is actually better than the Super Evolution, but it is what it is. Hopefully you enjoyed the video though. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.